Welcome to the Leading Lane podcast for real estate pros by real estate pros with your hosts, Ashley Frederick and Stephen Birch. If you're looking for an honest, authentic, and raw perspective, you found it.
Yep. All right, welcome back to our podcast. Today, this is a topic I'm apparently really passionate about marketing yourself and being out there. And when I mean being out there, I mean making sure that you are present, you are being able to be seen, but more importantly, are you providing value? Not just marketing to post shit out there. Like, are you actually providing value to your people for them to be able to see that they want to like, love, and trust you to move forward with, let it be the transaction, let it be, just a friendship or just somebody that is within their sphere. So opening that up, Ashley, what do you do for marketing? What does marketing mean to you?
Well, one thing that we were talking about beforehand too is like being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes back into the posting, and we've talked about it before, but there used to be like the business pages and then your Facebook personal page, and everybody would try to keep everything separate. And I mean, like, I think the business pages, as far as like us realtors, I feel like they've kind of gone away. They're there,
Mm-hmm.
but people are really involved in like your personal Facebook. So I think it comes back to being, authentic, which we can get into. But as far as marketing, right, a lot of people think it's just like posting on social media, like, here's my new listing, which definitely is a part of it. But it's more than that. And the fact that people need to know, like, and trust you. So they need to be able to actually see you as a human, but also like, what value are you bringing when you do see them? Is it just like, hey, here's my latest listing? Or is it actual value of, this is what's going on in the market. These are the connections that I can help you with. But also in general, just being up, like we talk about all the time, like showing up in actual physical locations is also marketing. I mean, I talk about it with some of my coaching clients, like, and my agents in the office. I was like, do you wear like your franchise gear like when you're out somewhere? It's like, well, no. And I was like, that's really simple. I mean, like, you just have to put on a t-shirt when you're at your basketball game, and someone will, one, it's like a recognition of like, oh yeah, that's what they do. Or, oh, I should talk to them. I was thinking about selling this spring. It's so simple, just the little things, but people are just, I think it's just a matter of like easy buttons here and there, but it's not just posting on a just sold or a just listed.
Yeah, like I call that posting and praying. You're going to post and you're going to pray that somebody's actually going to reach out to you. There's no method to the madness behind it whatsoever. And, also for me, like this me mentality that like people are trying to be, selling Sunset and the reality TV show and all about me. And, like, I think there's a time and place for that, but that's not of a value, in my opinion. That's just the reality TV, wasting of time. It's what is it that is going to attract people to come to you? And you can deliver this in multiple different methods. I mean, like you've already said, in person, or it can be digitally. You can create ads, or you can do it organically. You can go through so many different cycles, and it's not just a one size fits all either. There has to be a strategic plan behind what are you actually doing and with your intentions, and being extremely intentional with it. So it may be one aspect of it being the only realtor in the room. It may be one aspect of it that you are going to post your just listed and just sold. Maybe you're going to do your postcards. Maybe, I mean, like, what else are you doing out there though, other than the just general posting? And so I think the easiest way to be able to explain what I would love is for people to be able to answer the questions that are constantly being asked. There's a great book, They Ask, You Answer. And that opened my eyes tremendously, because we get the questions constantly. And so I think that we don't a lot of times realize that that's something of importance and of value that we can start educating and providing that out there. But yet there's people that have no clue what is going on, and they're looking for us to be able to help them and guide them. So what better way to show them that you're the professional by educating them? But how are you going to do that? So Another one that we were talking about is video. We had Tracy Phillips on here, and she does our pro shorts. She does our testimagicals, which are the video testimonies from clients and for recruiting and all these different things. And the easiest way somebody can actually get to know you, in my opinion, is being able to watch you on video. And if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, how many words then is an actual video of you? And I hate getting on video, right? Like, I know the first couple of podcasts that we had and different recordings that we had, I was a nervous wreck, but it comes with time. You have to, I'm way more comfortable now. I'm not trying to be polished and bullet point everything out, so I think that people need to see that authentic you, because let me tell you, when you get in front of people, at least for me, when I get in front of people, I'm still going to stutter. I'm still going to trip over my words. I'm going to make up words or put words that aren't supposed to be in that sentence and make sense. But I think that's the part of the fun of getting to know each other and being able to learn and understand, like, for your clients, customers, the public, that you aren't perfect, that you aren't this perfect polished person. And that makes you so much more relatable.
Yeah, I think that video has come a long way, and it's so simple now. Like, you can just turn your camera around and, tape record yourself for 30 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it might be. There's also another, she's author in YouTube video, but it's Karen Carr. It's Karin and then Carr. And that is kind of her specialty, is YouTube videos. So she tells a story about how she had to relocate. I think it was because her husband went to a different military base when she was in real estate, and she didn't know anybody. And so she just started doing YouTube videos about the area that she lived in. It didn't necessarily have to be real estate related. It was just, here's some good coffee shops. Here's my favorite grocery store. These are the 5 things to do on, whatever. And she basically amounted her this mass business because people found her on YouTube, and then they felt like they already knew her before they met her. And she's the same person, whether it's in person or on YouTube. And I think that's the other thing is, we talked about somebody that, didn't want to put something on their Facebook page because of who would see it. And I think that, but you're yourself. So why would you not put that? And granted, there's some things that should definitely be left off of Facebook for sure. But when it comes to being yourself or answering questions or asking questions, people want to know you. They want to, and it's also just a reminder, some of us have been in real estate for 10 plus years. And if we can remind our clients, right, because we might not see them as often, or, that's another whole aspect of, marketing is how are you staying in touch with your past clientele so that 5 years from now, when they decide to sell their house, yep, I'm going to call Ashley. There's a whole sense of marketing to that as well, that people just expect that people are going to call them back when they decide to buy or sell.
We had a client sign up with us yesterday for RevUp, our lead system. And in our conversation, she was sharing with me about her neighbor sold her house, listed her house with somebody else. And she was so upset. And she was so I was like, so how did you have a conversation? Where did that go? And she was she went and asked the neighbor, what made you choose this person over me? And the neighbor said, I forgot that you did real estate. And I said, this is why you need to have a strategic plan in place to be able to make sure that you're constantly top of mind. And she's like, well, I don't know what to share. What do I put out there? I don't want it to be all salesy. And I said, it's simple. You go to your local small business owned restaurant. I saw it on your Facebook. Share that and tag yourself in there, and making sure that they know you're wearing your swag. You're doing different events. You're inviting them to, your Christmas party or a cocktail party or
appreciation,
whatever it is that, makes you happy, that you enjoy doing. But now you can be able to share that experience with your past clients and customers in your sphere of influence. And I think there's a tactic for all of those different categories that you have within your pipeline of what you're going to be able to do and how much you're spending on them. Because it's not like you're going to invite, and maybe you will, but I wouldn't invite 3,000 people to a cocktail party. I'm going to invite my most important people to make sure that they're going to be out there being my biggest cheerleaders to give me referrals.
Right.
So it was just really eye-opening to be able to hear her say that. And she's been in this for 20 years. And she's like, I'm great at doing, obviously what we're all great at is the relationships and the transactional. She goes, but I suck at the marketing. I don't know what to do. And it's just the simple changes of how can you put yourself out there even further and compound it to what you're already doing in your everyday life. And you were telling a story when we got on about yesterday, you had to call 911 for a cow in the highway, right?
Welcome to rural USA.
Right? Like, for real. But that's marketing. That could be turned into a picture onto social and saying, welcome to rural USA, call me, instead of whatever. There's so much that you could have played off of that. And
Sure.
we overcomplicating it, thinking that it needs to be this big, elaborate post of what exactly needs to happen and only within real estate. But people need to know that, small town rural USA, that you like to go golfing, that you like to travel.
Right.
And I think that, again, makes you so much more relatable.
Well, and I think it's also just, for us, like our hashtag, right, is like humans over houses. And so at the end of the day, like we need to remember that we're humans and people want to see that we're human as well. So I think that for a long time, I struggled posting things that were just, like, oh, I had a golf outing today, because then there were the people that would be like, oh, must be nice to not be in the office today. And that would always piss me off. But it's like Ben and I were talking about last night. There is no such thing as a day off in real estate. Like, we can be on vacation. I'm still writing transactions, right? And that's the life we choose. But then people need to also know, like, yep, it is okay if like you went to a golf outing today, because guess what? That was also showing up. I remember that it's this one golf outing I go to with my friends every year. And at the dinner afterwards, it was like just a hors d'oeuvres or whatnot. And my friend, we sat down next to someone else and he introduced me to him and we like chit chatted, and he's like, oh yeah, like you're in real estate. I've heard your name before. And the following year he called me and he said, hey, I met you at that golf outing last year and my wife and I are looking to sell. And I sold their house that year. And it was because I met them randomly at a golf outing.
Right.
So sure, it might appear that I'm not working, but I indeed was. But then it makes it relatable, right? Because then somebody else in your sphere might like golfing and they didn't know that you liked to golf. And then the next time you see them, they would be like, oh, what did you think about, X golf course? We hate that one, or that one's a tough one.
Right.
So it's just giving people things to talk about too. So I think we were talking about this the other time, is that I think it's also important to remember that just because people don't like or comment on any of your things doesn't mean they're not watching.
Correct.
So I think I was at a golf outing and
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice. So nice. Someone asked how Mittens was doing, and they hadn't liked or commented on anything, but right, like they saw that I posted that like Mittens had been sick and they took the time to read it, and then they took the time to ask me about it. So again, like it makes me human for them. And lo and behold, it was a past client of mine. And I thought that was really sweet that she asked. But again, like these are just talking points, which I think we also overcomplicate. Like people are always like, what are we going to talk about?
Right.
There's plenty of things to talk about. Because again, like your clients are typically going to be your, friends. A lot of them turn into good friends. But in the same sense, like you're helping them with the largest purchase they're going to make. Like you want it to be relatable and fun. And, I always think about like one of my clients that just fell down the stairs when we were, looking at homes, and he tried to walk through a screen door. It's the same guy, right? But like we joke about that for like years. And I think I posted a video about my golden Rolodex, and like, sure enough, she was like, you're our call for everything, and I need to comment back yet. And I was like, don't know if I can help about walking through screen doors, right? But it's just like that camaraderie that happens when you engage with people.
And the aha moment for me was a few years back, because I know that I'm working on being better at social media and posting as well, because I have this bullshit story that if I'm posting different things, then it means that I'm being cocky and I'm out here trying to brag and all that stuff, and that's not my intentions whatsoever. But somebody told me social media is social. You have to be social on it. So that means you have to re-engage. You have to like other people's stuff. You have to comment on other people's stuff, because then now the wonderful algorithm gods are going to grant you with more visual right in front of other people. So social media is social. And now every single time that I'm posting, I'm like, is this social, or is this just me throwing shit on the wall and hoping that it sticks and then getting upset later on that if nobody else is engaging and interacting? Well, I need to put a little bit more critical thinking into it to make sure that it is engaging and I can get people to reply. And going back to like, people do not necessarily like and comment on your stuff, but that doesn't mean not to not post.
Right.
I have a client that came to our broker fast track retreat last year, and so work with her constantly, even still. And I posted a picture of when I was in college and I cheered at K-State, and you know, like, because it was the first game last weekend, and she screenshot it, sent it to me. She goes, "Why in the world did I not know about this?" And like, we went back and forth and, you know, talking about K-State, and she didn't know that I cheered there, and like, she didn't like her comment on it, and that's okay. But she sure started and sparked a conversation with me. And now every time that she sees K-State and every time that I'm thinking K-State, I'm going to think about her because we had that engagement. So now I have that deeper level of connection with her. And I also, to echo off of the fact of like what we actually post out here, we need to understand that, yes, you know, in our business, we sell real estate. But in reality, what people are paying for and hiring us for is not necessarily the actual house, in my opinion. They're paying for our services. And our services is us, right? Like, that is us as a human. Again, going back to the humans over houses aspect of it. So it's not like we need to post our inventory of what is available for them to be able to purchase. What we're selling them in reality is our services. So if we lead with our services and us as humans first, then the transactional inventory, if you will, is going to come thereafter. It's going to follow no matter what. Right?
Well, I think like one really easy thing I've started doing is just if something comes up in my day, I'll just make a note. Like, I have a little thing in my Asana, and it's called like video ideas. And it's just something that happened during the day that I was like, you know what, like, this would be a great educational, because I think that's at the end of the day is by providing services, like, I just want people to be educated, because some people make some horrible decisions when they didn't have a realtor. No lie, like, I had a client that I have bought and sold with, and she found a for sale by owner and thought that she'd get a better deal by not working with a realtor. And she called me earlier this week, and it has turned into an absolute shit show. She now owes it, paid cash. Pretty sure she paid like $35,000 over what the true value is. So if she had to sell, like, it would be extremely tough. But also, it was a condo, and because there's lots of looseness with that one, but nobody gave her the condo docs. So she bought the condo without knowing any of the actual restrictions of what she can and can't do, which are going to impact what her plans were.
Sure.
And, you know, same thing. So it's just a matter of making sure that they understand. And she said 3 times, I should have called. I should have called. I should have called. And so I think it's just a matter of us making sure that we are being in touch and reminding them, like, this is why, these are the reasons. But again, like, right, I'll probably make a video about, did you receive all the documents? Like, how did you make sure that you got all of those documents? Or like, it's been popular here lately, like, probably gonna do a video about it, but agents that are denying showings because they're worried about how they're gonna get paid. I mean, it's disgusting, and there are fiduciary duties that are not being held to standards, and everybody likes to put it under the rug in this area. And I want to be a little bit more boisterous about it, that if you want to see a property and someone's denying you that request, like, we have definite things to talk about. I know I'm going off on a rampage now. But you know, like, when there was an agent that called another one of our agents this week and said that things aren't fair because our office works with higher end buyers than their office, so we can just assume that we're going to get paid, but they're not going to get paid because they work with lower end buyers. And it actually really pissed me off, because there are plenty of quote unquote lower end buyers that have the ability to pay for an agent. And here's the other thing, like, we keep on getting distracted on can a buyer afford a buyer's agent? Where in all reality, like, if we're negotiating for the buyer and we're putting it in the offer, the buyer doesn't have to worry about it. If you explain it to those first-time home buyers, which I've done, and they get it, and they agree to sign a buyer agency. So again, it goes back to people are just so unaware of what's going on in the market, and we have to do a better job of leading from the front and educating them. And right now, I feel like the only way to do that is via video or via social media, because there's so much crap out there. So now I just went off on a tangent and I came up
but
with 10
it's
ideas
so
that I can
true.
post for
Like,
for videos.
it's crazy. And I had that exact conversation yesterday with one of my agents, and she was like, there's other agents that are concerned about their commission. Okay, get that. She was like, but what happens when we get in front of a buyer and they don't have the funds? And I was like, okay, first off, that's a prime opportunity for you to tell them that is why they need to hire you, because you're a master negotiator. And so therefore, if they don't have the funds, they need to make sure they're putting themselves in a position working with a realtor that is actually going to work on their behalf, versus getting them into a position and now stuck and can't financially afford anything that they just put on their plate. And they're like, never really thought of it that way. And, it's a chin check that we have to realize that, like, we have to be able to articulate our value. And it's okay that you can't financially afford out of pocket, X amount of, dollars cash. But if you really want the house and you really need a living situation, like, work with me and I will do my damnedest to make sure that we check all your boxes and get you in there. And, the flip side of this too, and what kind of a flip, it's a kind of in the marketing realm, but yesterday there was a post by a local agent and was talking about how somebody can use their VA and have 0% down. True. But then was talking about how on a $400,000 house, it would only be about $7,000 of buyer's closing cost. And so let's negotiate that. Also, a little iffy in my opinion. But it was so vague. I feel like it was extremely misleading. Yes, there's VA that you can do 0% down, but what about the VA funding fee that has to be rolled into the loan? We didn't talk about that. What about the commission now? We didn't talk about that. Like, I think that there's these vague posts, and vague probably because the person that's actually posting them does not have the education behind it to realize it. And come to think of it, the same person that posted this a couple of weeks ago posted how, like, you can tell me that you don't want to go see a house that it's not offering commission. And I commented on there, like, I'm going to challenge you on that. Like, I think everything in real estate, I think everything in real estate is negotiable, including commission, concessions, all of that. So I would not rule out a property just because they're not advertising buyer commission right up front. She never responded, but still, like, why are we putting that out there? That's not true. You're only working for the best of yourself.
Right. Like, that's the other part of, like, this marketing, is that I feel like we need to combat what is out there.
Agreed.
Because there are people that are actually posting things that are scaring people or aren't true. And so I think it's back to us as the realtors that are educated and are confident in it to have those, conversations. I think I posted a video about just the changes, right? Like, happening August 17th. These are the 3 types of forms. And it was great because then someone wrote, Ashley, does this mean that I need this in order to go to an open house? Great question. Like, no, you don't have to, but right, like, at least that was engaging, and anybody else that read it now understood it. So that's the other part, is the dialogue that other people are asking can educate other people along the way.
Well, and that goes right back to what we were saying, that just because somebody's not liking it or commenting on it, if they're scrolling through, they're seeing that, they're reading it, that's information now that you provided. You aren't getting the satisfaction of the like and the engagement, but you are getting the outcome that you're looking for of empowering and educating other people. So I think that's so huge to be able to do. And with this too, like, I think it's so funny that it's all on terminology, and especially with the lawsuit stuff that we're always talking about, and its interpretation. I made a comment on our sales meeting this week about that you need a buyer agency agreement. And one of my agents, Sabrina, she was like, well, technically it's not a buyer agency agreement. And I was like, ooh, touche, 10 points for you. Thank you for, like, saying it. Like, in this setting, yes, like, you are 100% correct. And so we went through that, and I thanked her, like, I really appreciate you checking me on that, because I did misspeak. You knew what I was meaning in the context of the conversation. But out of all technicality, I don't need the buyer agency agreement. We can do a touring agreement, or we can do, there's so many different other things that we can do. So I think it's even with your peers, you know, like making sure that you are commenting on it and engaging with it. And, you know, if you need to shine some light and maybe in a different way for them to be able to see it from a different perspective, like go for it.
Yeah, or send them a private message or send them a text message of like, and I try to do that with a local broker, and he was upset and he's like, "You're expecting agents to walk around getting paid, you're not getting paid, they're supposed to work for free." And I was like, no. That is not what we're talking about. That is not what I said. And I was like, let me explain it to you. And I tried, but I don't know if it went anywhere. But, I think that's just it, is at least if we can continue to try to. I mean, I've tried to send a couple of agents to some videos like, the Unfiltered podcast, like, here, listen to this. Like, this is why we think it's going to work this way. And, if you choose to listen to it, you do. If you don't, but that's also a matter of like finding those right agents. They're taking the time to understand what's going on. I had another client that's going to move here from Arizona, and he was talking about, buyers have to pay for their agents now. And I was like, so it doesn't quite work that way. I mean, like there's a roundabout way. And he's like, oh no, my realtor said that that's only true in Arizona. And I was like, okay, so it's across the US. And I was like, let me explain it to you. So again, like there's some knowledge that's being spread, but we got to make sure it's the correct all the way around. So like what you said, I mean, it goes back to marketing. It goes back to us being the experts, us being willing to share that information, not being afraid of what we look like on camera, because we're more concerned about impacting humans and making them comfortable in their homes so that they're not house poor, they didn't make bad decisions, and that when the time comes, like they remember how hard we worked for them, that yes, then they come back as repeat clients.
Right. And, it's tough, being able to combat, if you will, or rebuttal, probably a better word, people on social and in person. It's tough because you are going against the grain, but you always say you have to lead from the front, right? And it may feel like we're going against the grain, but honestly, it's just because it's new territory. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is that probably 2 weeks ago, we were at an event, and it happened to be a place where other realtors were out, totally cool. And one of their clients came up to me, and we were talking, and we're having this conversation, and then this other agent interjected, and we were talking about the lawsuit. And he goes on about how the lawsuit is because in 2008, when we had the crazy downturn in the market, like he went on this big elaborate story, like in front of his client, and they're engaging, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag, nope. And then he goes, well, Stephen, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong. And I said, yep, let me stop you, because you're wrong.
Where would you like me to start?
Like, and I was like, I don't mean any disrespect. Like, maybe that's your perspective, but that's not where we're at. And he kept on going and going. And I was like, all right, so we're going to have to agree to disagree, but I will get you some education points to be able to make sure that you're educating people properly. And then the entire rest of the evening, his client was talking to me about all of these other things, and he got all pissed off, and everything was this big production. I was like, okay, come on. Like, first, if you just educated yourself, like, I'm not here trying to steal clients. I'm literally making sure that people know what is going on. So I don't even sell, dude. Like, so it's not like I'm going to come and take them away from you and sell them a house. So I don't know. I think marketing all the way around, if it's digitally or if it's in person, being the only realtor in the room, like, it's being bold, it's being loud, it's being vulnerable, it's being consistent, and it's stepping out of your comfort zone constantly.
Yep.
So
100%.
Good talk. I feel much better. Thank you for letting me doing that passionate topic there.
You're welcome.
All right. Tune in next time, guys. Thank you for listening, and we're excited to chat again.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share with others. Stay connected for more genuine insights and strategies to boost your real estate career on Facebook, or check out our website. We'll see you next time.